What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another video, and I hope everyone have an amazing day. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and check out my other channel in the description below, where we are watching Huck Horror, and this is 5 true Home Alone horror stories. So sit back, relax, let's watch Home Alone.
This incident happened around a year ago. I had just taken my last final at community college and was nervously awaiting my grades. The pool in my apartment complex was a great place to take my mind off my results. Some of my friends had come over to join me and my two roommates, Lacey and Bailey. While we were splashing around, I heard my phone go off. This had to be my results. Calming my anxiety, I clambered out of the pool, dripping wet, and grabbed my phone. I'd passed. This was cause for celebration, and of course my friends weren't going to pass up a chance to get drunk. Excitement built throughout the day. Me and Bailey and Lacey went out and stocked up on alcohol and put together a Spotify playlist. By the time we got back and got ready, people had begun to turn up. Soon our apartment was full of all my friends and roommates' friends. We did think about going out, but we were enjoying the laid-back vibe of our house party, so we stayed in and began to drink the night away. Hours passed, and by 2 o'clock in the morning, people were starting to filter out, leaving me, my two housemates, and the two guys they were dating at the time. We were determined to keep the party going, and in our drunken state, we thought what better to do than take advantage of the pool and go nighttime swimming. After a short while, we got out and dried off. The others made the decision to carry on to another party, a quick walk away. They of course encouraged me to come along, given it was my celebration, but I'd had enough drinking for the night and wished them on their way. So I was alone in our 3-bedroom apartment. This didn't bother me, however. The girls and I had busy schedules and social lives, so we were in and out all of the time. It was rare that one of us wouldn't be all alone in the apartment. I rustled up some food and went to my room to chill until the others came back. Now our apartment was stationed at the front of the complex, right next to a small gated entrance. The gate had been broken for a few weeks at this point. You could hear it swinging in the wind from just outside my window. I don't know if anyone ever complained to the complex owner about it, because honestly, no one gave it any thought. It wasn't like we had strangers coming and going all of the time. My room sat right in front of the gate, and for whatever reason, I hadn't pulled the curtain shut on my window. So you could see most of the room from the outside, and what you couldn't see was visible in the reflection of the mirrors on my closet doors. All that drinking and swimming must have caught up with me, because before I could recall my friends getting back, I fell asleep. It was around 5:30 a.m. when I reawoke. There were flashes of bright lights going off around my room. In my dazed early morning state, I blinked my eyes rapidly to shake off whatever my head was doing, but the flashing didn't stop. I was frozen still. This had to be my friends playing a prank on me. My fault for falling asleep.
Somebody in there.
My heart sank when a burst of moonlight shot into the room, revealing not my friends, but a man. Perched next to my closet, he was tall and wore a green night hoodie. He was holding his phone in both hands, the flash from his camera going off like a machine gun, dazing me. I had fallen asleep in my short shorts, and my bare legs were hanging out from under the duvet. He hadn't noticed I was awake yet, but when I sat upright and shouted, "What the?" he didn't charge at me to shut me up or run as fast as he could out of my room. He simply put his phone away and walked out. Being the dumbass that I am, I got up and bolted after him shouting, "Hey, hey, hey!" But by the time I had got out of the apartment, he was nowhere to be seen. The shouting had woke up my housemates, who were confused. I told them what had happened. They denied any involvement. They were honestly so shocked. They had to be sincere in their denial. When the police arrived, we all went through the apartment to see if anything had been taken, and how he got in. Strangely, only my laptop was missing. He had left behind 2 MacBooks, 2 wallets, and a $300 speaker. There were no signs of a break-in, and the front door was unlocked. When Lacey and Bailey came back, they had forgotten to lock the door. I don't know how long he had been out there watching the apartment. The worst part of this ordeal is that my laptop had a slim disk from my camera in it, so now this creep has access to a bunch of my personal photos. I dread to think what he is doing with them right now. I live in a fairly secure area, and my family has 2 dogs, one a large Doberman and the other a poodle. Both of our dogs are super protective of our house and are constantly alert and barking at any suspicious noise.
I think it's stored in
The barking is so frequent that our neighbours regularly leave passive-aggressive notes complaining. One time a neighbour even went as far as to threaten violence towards our dogs if they didn't shut up. So when my parents went away for the weekend, instead of leaving me to supervise the dogs and deal with any potential fallouts with the neighbours, they checked them into a local kennel. I truly was alone with no responsibilities. I spent my first night of solitude, sat up, playing Rainbow Six Siege with my friends. I had my headset on at a high volume, and the window behind me wide open. My evening was going to plan, knocking back coke and cracking jokes with all my friends. Until they all started saying the same thing. What is that squeaking and banging sound coming from your mic? I couldn't hear it. But when I took my headset off, there it was. A bang, followed by a creak, repeated over and over in that order. I peered out of my window to see over my garden fence. A tall man dressed in a black hood and black trousers ramming his body against the fence. The repetitive ramming broke the gate from its hinges. It was at that point that I knew I needed to call the police. Whilst waiting to get through to the operator, I hovered by the window, watching him to see if he was coming into the garden and towards the back door of the house. The 911 operator told me to go to the safest room in the house and hide, but my curiosity got the better of me. I had to keep watching. The moonlight illuminated something strapped over his shoulder. A hunting rifle. Now it was definitely time to hide. I was in serious danger. I crawled under my bed and listened keenly for any sounds. The brief silence was broken by the window in the back door shattering and the man's footsteps entering the house.
Uh-oh. Should have called the police when you seen them in the first one.
I could hear him moving furniture around and opening drawers. It was as if he was searching for something. My heart sunk when he began creeping up the stairs. To my relief, the sirens began to blaze down the road, and in my stupidity, this seemed like the time to make my escape. I bolted out of my bedroom and to the front door, but was greeted by a man from the garden towering above me at the top of the stairs.
Ew.
He reached out and gripped my neck, choking me. I could feel my breath getting weaker and the life draining from me. He had a piece of black cloth covering the bottom half of his face. It slipped as he was choking me, revealing the face of my neighbour. Losing his disguise caused him to loosen his grip just enough that I could wriggle out of his grasp. I reached for his gun, but in the struggle he wrestled it away from me.
Oh, he was planning on killing the dog that
and
he was complaining about?
pulling the trigger. The safety must have been on, because it didn't fire, giving the police enough time to kick down the door and tase the man. We don't know why my neighbour did what he did. He was charged with breaking and entering, as well as carrying an unlicensed firearm.
An attempted murder. She was choking him.
My name is Emma, and I was 12 years old when this story took place. Me and my brother were left at home together. He was 16 at the time. We live in a really nice neighbourhood with next to no crime, so don't blame our parents for leaving us unsupervised. I was going about my normal nightly routine, shower, brush my teeth, and going off to bed. I stepped out of the shower and began to get dressed, when a loud bang on the window nearly made me jump out of my skin. For the sake of the story, let me explain the layout of my bathroom for you. As you walk in, you see the bathtub right away. To the right, there's a countertop and the sink. Next to the counter, the toilet, and the window in question above the shower. As I was saying, the bang at the window startled me. At first I thought it had to be my brother trying to scare me, but when I walked to the front room, there he was, sat on the couch watching TV. I was confused and more than a little concerned. Were you just in the backyard? I was interrupted mid-sentence. We both heard it this time. A loud bang on the sliding glass door. My brother told me to get into the laundry room. My laundry room has no windows.
This is ice cream.
He went to go and get our dad's gun and headed outside. The minutes I spent in that room felt like hours. What if my brother was in trouble? Any second now, the door to the laundry room was going to open, and the intruder would be standing right there. When the door did open, I was relieved to see my brother, gun in hand. According to him, there were footprints leading from the sliding door to my bathroom window, and right back out onto the street. He had been watching me shower, and when I started to get dressed, he banged on the window, but my brother and the gun scared him off. A few months afterwards, we had people jumping our fence in the middle of the night. They didn't come close to the house, but I always wonder if the two events were connected.
Just random people.
To this day, I am still terrified of taking showers. My parents went away for the weekend back when I was 14. They were a little skeptical about leaving me alone for the first time, but I managed to convince them I'd be okay and that my friend Mary could come over and keep me company. They agreed to leave me unsupervised, and on the night they left, Mary came over. We got changed into our PJs and began watching a movie in the front room. I don't remember the movie, and I don't remember why, but we lost interest and started talking about dumb teenage girl stuff. You know, like boys and silly celebrity gossip. There was a knock at the door. Foolishly, I didn't check from the window who was there. I just opened the door and greeted the person. How can I help you?
How can I help you?
He was a gaunt man in his mid-30s. His hair was scraggly, and his clothes looked like they needed a wash.
Ew, how disgusting.
He was muttering to himself quietly under his breath, and he couldn't stand still. Looking back on it now, he was most likely high or very drunk. Are you girls home alone?
No.
Yes. What a dumb answer.
You should have said no.
Shockingly, he didn't try to barge his way in. He simply grinned, flashing his yellow-stained teeth, and walked away into the night.
You should have said,
have a nice night.
Dad, there's some
Mary
strange
and I were
man.
freaked
Can you
out.
grab your gun?
But after talking it over for a while, we figured if he meant to harm us, he would have come in when I opened the door to him. So we forgot about the creepy man and continued talking nonsense. Eventually, we retired upstairs to my bedroom and zonked out fast asleep.
Doors,
At 3 a.m., I was woken up by noises downstairs.
Oh.
I shook Mary awake and told her to listen. Go look, Mary whispered to me, but there was no way I was going out there. But it was my house, so eventually I gathered up the courage to go peer over the railing on the top of the stairs. There he was, the man from the door, searching my front room. He was pacing about frantically, still muttering to himself. I ran back to my room and closed the door slowly with as much care as I could muster. But he must have heard me, because he shouted, "There you are." His footsteps crept up the staircase, but before he reached the top, he shouted again, "Who are you?" What followed sounded like a scuffle, and then it stopped. We were frozen in fear, tears running down our faces. The door flew open. It was my neighbour, wrapped up in his dressing gown with cuts on the side of his face. Apparently he had noticed the strange man hovering around our house a few times in the evening before he went up to bed. He got up again in the night and saw our front door wide open, blowing in the breeze. He came over to check what was going on and saw the man on the top step. That's when a fight broke out and my neighbour chased him off. I'm so grateful for my neighbour's nosiness that night. Safe to say, my parents didn't leave me alone in the house after that for a few years. My family's house has 4 bedrooms, one of which is in the loft. When the loft conversion was done, my brother was the oldest sibling, so he got first pick on the new room. The floors up there are extremely loud. You can hear his every movement when he gets up and walks around. After he left for uni, the room was empty, and I spent most of the day home alone by myself. My mum would leave for work early in the morning, and wouldn't get back until late in the evening. Even though the room was empty, you could hear the floorboards creaking every now and again. It didn't really sound the same as when my brother was home and moving around, so I just shrugged it off and went about my day. One particular day, however, I had just woken up and was sitting on the edge of my bed, and clear as day, I heard footsteps moving around above me. My brother didn't say he was coming back home, but he must have come back in the night. I walked up the stairs to go ask him why he was back, but when I opened the door, the room was empty. so I checked the walk-in wardrobe. When that was also empty, I searched the whole house from top to bottom. No one else was home. I didn't know what I expected to find, but I expected to find something that could explain the footsteps. There are cupboards that lead to a crawl space up there, but I've never checked for someone hiding in them. Now, I don't believe in ghosts, and I don't know why there would be ghosts in this house anyway. I have no other explanation for the noises. To this day, I wonder if that, in fact, was a paranormal experience.
You never know. It might be a squatter lurking in your home. Ghosts can do this, do that, everything. This is scary, but not as scary as the other videos I was watching, but it was scary. Not too scary, but yeah. I'm glad I never encountered this. Thank God. Because people be watching you. Especially when you're home alone. Like, creepy people be watching you. Oh, let me see. Oh, they're home alone. Let's see who's in there. That's what I get. Yeah. Tell me guys what you think about this video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, have the most awesome, positive day. Until next time, it's your life. Do what you want and do it positively. Peace.